How can someone connect with the highest power?
with the highest power.
Yeah, with the source.
Hmm.
How can someone, achieve that?
Right. Well, it's important to understand that you're already connected with the higher source. Always have been and always will. You're just not consciously, in most cases, we're not consciously aware that we are connected. So we oftentimes feel disconnected, confused. We feel like we have to struggle. We have to do everything ourselves. When you slow yourself and take a deep breath and focus inward, what I mean by inward is just feel the presence of life in, you know what I'm saying? Feel your presence, energy, your spirit. That's the infinite. And what I mean by the infinite, I mean God, the energy, spirit. All of this referring to the same thing, energy, because all that there is energy. So everything is energy. So when you say, how do I connect with the divine or the higher power? You're already connected. You're just not feeling the presence. You're not being directed and guided by the supreme power of the universe. You're trying to guide yourself. Or you allow your culture, your environment to guide you or to influence your thinking and your feeling. The objective here is to turn away from that and go inside, go internally and feel the power and presence of God in you. And that's in all of us, not just some of us.
I just feel like, some people that are struggling with that because we are in this world that we want things to be instant.
Right, right, right,
I don't want to wait. Okay, so you're telling me that there's this infinite, source of energy out there.
right.
Why can't I feel it? You know?
Well, you can feel it. You're just not aware that you're feeling it. What you're feeling, you're not interpreting it as the energy, the power of the infinite, because the power of your focus, right, is focused on something else. It's like looking for your keys that you can't find. When you sit and take a deep breath, then you find out the keys are right there on the table
The whole
the
time.
whole time. In the Bible, when it says, be still and know that I am, that's what it's referring to. Slow down a little bit, take a deep breath. Take some of your focus away from all the external things that are going on in the world. Take a break from social media, take a break from your worries and your concerns, and you will discover that what you've always been seeking is here, always has been. It's just a matter of refocusing your attention from one direction to another.
And that brings me, to ask you this follow-up question here,
Mhm.
right? How do you yourself communicate with God, the higher power, whatever it is that you want to
Right.
call it?
Well, first of all, let me say it can be challenging. Okay. Let me first admit and acknowledge that it can be challenging. And it's primarily challenging because most of, if not all of my life, and I believe most people's lives, we're always taught or been conditioned to see or perceive life or reality in a certain way. We've been conditioned to live by a certain set of values and beliefs, right? And so you've already been conditioned on how you're supposed to operate, what you're supposed to think, what you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to be. So these ideas are heavily indoctrinated into our thinking, into the way we feel, the way we respond to life. In a way, we can say we're programmed. Okay. So when you're programmed to do a certain thing and see life in a certain way, you're automatically acting or responding to life from that perspective. Okay. So what you're saying is, well, how do I do this? You have to take your intent purpose because you are a creative being. You are a powerful being. You are spirit, your energy. You have to take the power of your will and your attention and you have to refocus it on the presence, who you are, who you really are, what life is all about. It's a number of ways you can do this. And I want to make this very clear. There's no specific one way to do this. It's an infinite number of ways. The idea that this has to be done by one special method or one special technique is absurd. You're infinite. The universe is infinite. Life is infinite. So there are always an infinite number of ways to undertake whatever it is you desire. There has to be certain techniques or a specific focus of energy in a particular direction, but there's no particular way to do this. One method that can easily be used is to simply start asking yourself, who am I? Who am I? Why am I here? But when you ask this, it has to be from a place of sincerity. You can't ask it surfacely, like, who am I? Why am I here? Really deeply, who am I? And why am I here? If you simply started with that, step back, took a deep breath, and listen for the response, you'll be surprised what you discover. That simple. Powerful, but simple. Most people are not going to do it because it sounds too simple. We're looking for something complicated. That's why we spend a lot of money on courses and seminars and all this kind of stuff, because we believe it has to be complicated. We're convinced that everything has to be complicated. So when these simple techniques or methods are introduced to us, we dismiss them as being trivial because they seem so insignificant. But in reality, they're very powerful.
It sounds very simple the way you just explained it,
Right.
right? All of it makes sense.
Right. But let me say this, that's just one technique.
Mm.
That's just one method. That's one way. I can give you several, but that is one way.
You know, I'm just being honest here. For myself,
Mhm.
I'm I've been working on meditation, trying to get to that space.
Right.
And for whatever reason, my brain is just
Right.
just all over the place.
It's like the more you try it, the more difficult it becomes. Right.
So I mean, just hearing you speak on it,
Right.
I'm like, why? How can I at least have control with over my brain to just quiet, stand still,
Right.
Let's see what happened, right?
Right.
How have you been able to overcome, you know, this human part of us?
Let me say this, and I think this is most significant to understand. The vast majority of what we call life, your existence, my existence, the world, the universe, the life that we live in, most of it happens of itself, right? You live in a universe, you live on a planet. It's a happening. The sun is shining, the clouds are moving, the earth is spinning. Life is buzzing all around you.
Seems like there's always something
It's
happening.
all, but what are you and I doing consciously to make that happen?
Nothing at
Nothing.
all.
Okay. You grow, you evolve, you wake up, you go to the bathroom, you eat your food, your body digests food. All this is happening of itself, right? So it's important to understand that you of yourself can't do this. You cannot, of your own doing, slow your mind down. The more you try to slow your mind down, the more difficult it becomes. But nonetheless, you try because those are the techniques or the methods that we have been introduced or taught. So
Has that worked for you?
I've had limited results, but in most cases, it's temporary. What has worked for me, and I find, is to understand that you can't do this. You cannot slow the mind down
Mm.
no more than you can make yourself grow or make yourself not grow. So you have to understand that there is an infinite power and energy, a spirit and intelligence that is responsible for everything that's here. You and I are of that spirit, of that energy. This spirit lives, moves. It's the essence of our being. It's extremely intelligent and powerful. What I'm saying, that there is an infinite power, God, a spirit, an energy from which we come. We're always in this spirit. We're always a part of this spirit. We can never be separated from this spirit. The spirit is extremely intelligent. It knows all things, does all things, and is everywhere. You can never be separated from it. Within this spirit, there's an ability to communicate. If you communicate and commune with the spirit and slow yourself down and ask the spirit, God, the energy, the intelligence, the universe, to assist you, to show you, to guide you, it will do it. That's why the scripture says, if you ask anything in my name and believe it, it is done unto you. What do you mean by name? In my name. That means in the awareness that this infinite power or God exists. Not a God of religion, but the infinite supreme power of creation. It exists. There is a supreme power that exists, and we have a direct connection with this power. We can communicate with this power, and it communicates with us. It can guide and direct us in all our needs. But you must become aware of it. You must acknowledge it and you must accept it. Once you do this, you automatically, spontaneously, in all things that you ask and turn to it for are given to you. It's his nature to do so. So when you try to calm your mind, who is it you that's trying to calm it? You're the perceived person that you perceive yourself to be. You're not turning to a higher power. When you have challenges in your life, most wise people always seek counsel, from more intelligent, more informed persons to assist them in certain areas of their life. That's what wiser people. So why not seek directions and counsel from this infinite power?
Directly. Huh?
Direct.
Mhm.
And to understand that you have a direct connection. You don't need a middleman. You've been taught that you need a middleman. That's why we go to pastors and preachers and shamans and holy men and all of this kind of stuff. But in true reality, it's not even necessary because the very fabric and DNA of this power is who you are. It's the very essence of your being. It's just a matter of you acknowledging it and accepting it and turning to it for guidance. And it will reveal itself to you, to me, to all of us.
And the other thing I'm picking up is to keep trying, right? Yes, I'm trying to connect. I'm trying to feel. I'm trying to experience this, call it phenomenon, right?
Mhm.
With my creator.
Mhm.
I just got to keep at it.
What you do is usually when we go to God, the creator, however we refer to this power, right? We usually ask it for a thing, right? We very seldom ask it for guidance. We very seldom ask it uh, to commune with us, to guide us, to assist us in our lives, not just for things. It has the power to assist and aid us in every endeavor of our life, but we usually do not reference it for that. We reference it for things. And what we fail to realize is the things that we're asking for, we already have. It's the guidance and the direction and the connection, the communication. That is what is significant. That is what has to be established consciously from the heart. You have to feel this communion, this relationship, this presence, this power. And in most cases, we feel everything except that. We commune with everything except that. So power that's always here, that's with us, in us, through us, around us. It's like we're totally oblivious to it.
Why do you think it seems, I can't speak for everyone, but I would assume
Right.
most people, when they do pray for, I want this. I want a new car.
Right.
I want $1 million, whatever it is,
Right.
right? Why is it that you think we are programmed that way when really what you just said made so much more sense, that we should ask for guidance. We should ask for, um, to, to really lead the way, right? Help us understand more who we are.
Right.
Why? I mean, in my world, it really takes someone to step back to
Mhm.
even comprehend, to even think about that. Because I feel like human nature is
Mhm.
human nature. We know this is what I know. So I'm gonna keep doing what I know.
Right.
But you're not getting the results by doing what you know. At one point, it's gonna force you to kind of step back and trying to look the other way, you know? So why do you think we program that way?
That's how we've been raised. How we've been indoctrinated. That's the dominant thought and belief system in our culture, in the world, that you have to do all this stuff yourself. And you have to do it better than everybody else. And you have to compete with everyone else. And if you don't do it in a certain way, on a certain level, in a certain time frame, then you're not going to succeed. So, you know, the culture, the environment has set the standard and the values, and has even set the value of what success and happiness is. All this stuff is primarily measured in material possession. It's obvious that material possessions are significant, but that's not the basis of what you are. You already live in a world that's bustling with resources. So what materially could you want is not already on the planet?
And I believe we already like talked about that.
Right.
There's nothing but
Nothing
abundance
but abundance here.
on earth.
Right. Right. But when you have been heavily indoctrinated in a certain ideology, a certain belief, and then you look around you and everybody's doing the same thing, you by association do the same thing. We're following the patterns of our parents, our grandparents, our culture, social media. So it's easy to understand why people believe that this is the path, this is the formula, this is the method, because everybody else is doing it. We're creatures of association. So when we see the vast majority of human beings doing things a certain kind of way, it doesn't really dawn into our minds that is there really another way? We just assume that this is the only way. By association of energy, because that's what we are. The energy, the environment in which we live in is energy. It's energetic. So if everybody else has this competitive, grinding, materialistic energy, then we naturally gravitate towards that. That's why it is said in the scripture, if you return from your evil and wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and heal your land. Well, what is turning from your evil and wicked ways? It's the value of the energy in which your conscious mind is focused. When you turn from that, then you will see another reality exists more powerful than reality you believe is the ultimate reality. We believe that the systems, the governments, the educations, the religions, these are the ultimate realities. They exist in the ultimate reality, but they're not the ultimate reality. But because we're powerful beings in whatever we believe, we create a cycle, a self-induced cycle by association, that this reality is ultimate. So we ultimately loop ourselves around in this perpetual energy loop. And the more we experience lack, struggle, difficulty, oppression, the more we believe that it's a reality and it becomes our reality. But when we turn from it, meaning you're looking for something, you're seeking something beyond this reality, then it will reveal itself to you. But that in most cases, that's only a select few people that actually have the courage, the will, or just fed up with the current way of doing things to such an extent that they naturally are just seeking something else.